Prime Minister Netanyahu has openly acknowledged his push for the Greater Israel Project. A Times of Israel blogger is floating the idea that the recent Epstein document leaks were actually punishment aimed at Israel. And now Ghislaine Maxwell is reportedly working a deal to get out of prison. So somebody unpack all of this for me as well.
Yeah, well, there was a blog written for the Times of Israel that basically mentions the Epstein files and implies that the threat of certain things coming out about Trump, being leaked about Trump, has encouraged him to go in a far more pro-Israel direction and not push back against Netanyahu. And honestly, you can see that through his actions. Like, there were some instances earlier where Trump was willing to push back against Netanyahu, including going into a full-out war with Iran or continuing to do strikes against the Houthis. But now Trump is very deferential to Benjamin Netanyahu, including Netanyahu's announcement that he intends to control and occupy the Gaza Strip. And in fact, let me just give you the details on that. This was, I believe, from the Times of Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that he feels very attached to the extremist vision of Greater Israel, a plan for the conquest of not just historic Palestine, but also parts of Egypt, Jordan, and potentially other countries. I mean, why do you think Israel keeps bombing its neighbors?
Wait, can we just...
Wait, hold on. Did he say that?
No, I'll tell you what he said.
Okay.
But the Greater Israel Project eventually encroaches on and steals land from those countries.
Guys,
that's what the ideology is. The Likud Charter specifically, and this has been the case, it celebrates and pursues from the river to the sea, the Greater Israel Project, right? Now, Palestinians got a lot of heat for saying or chanting from the river to the sea, but when it's literally in the charter for the Likud party, the prime minister is in the Likud party, no criticism for that, and now that charter is being put into action.
Guys,
and that's the
hold on.
problem.
Let me get, I'm so sorry, Lindy, because this, you're telling me,
Yeah.
Wait. I've seen the Hamas charter, and it's like death to all Jews, and this and that and the other, and it's like, well, how do you negotiate with that kind of crazy? You're telling me literally that in the charter for Netanyahu's party, and forgive me for being ignorant, but somehow I managed to miss this, that it says from the river to the sea, meaning we're going to wipe out all of Palestine? Because
yes, definitely.
But I just, okay, no, please,
I mean,
again.
I
thought he said,
guys, I have to plant a flag here because this just undermines everything about how Zionism is just the right to exist.
Well, wait,
this is like the Israeli
It's an
definition of
expansionist
manifest destiny.
globalist,
This
all
is
of
manifest
them.
destiny, Middle East version.
Hold one more time. So what I saw him say, and maybe I missed it. Now, I did see him say, we're going to take over Palestine, but I heard him then go on to say to get rid of Hamas.
He's a liar. It's not about Hamas. It's
Okay,
not
but
about
again, I did see him say that.
He's going to give it back. He's going to take
That's
it,
not
kill
the
everyone,
point.
take it.
I want to be clear about what he said, though. We can all say if you don't
back.
believe it. I just want to be clear, because that's what I saw him say, is we're going to get rid of Hamas, and we're going to let the Palestinians... I'm just want to be clear about what he said.
to sell you.
I know, guys, but did he actually say that?
He did say, he said he's going to give it back to
interview
people
with
who want it.
I-24
Okay,
News.
that's
Can
all
we
I'm asking.
Bring that up, I-24 News. I'm going to read you his exact statement.
Okay.
Because he was asked specifically, Netanyahu says he's on a historic and spiritual mission, also feels a connection to vision of Greater Israel.
Okay.
This is, guys, look, I'm not hating on the Israeli government just for the sake of it, right? I saw this coming from a million miles away because I've been paying attention to what their charter says. I've been paying attention not to their statements, but to their actions. And in fact, you know, when I was interviewed on Tucker Carlson's show, I brought this up as it pertains to the only Catholic church in the Gaza Strip that got bombed. Look, Israel has the best weapons imaginable because we're the ones funding it and providing those weapons, much to my chagrin, because I don't want to be part of a genocide and war crimes. But nonetheless, Tucker asked me about that Catholic church, and this is what I had to say about it. This is weeks ago.
You can't deny the fact that that one and only Catholic church in Gaza was bombed, was attacked. You can't deny the fact that churches have been targeted in the West Bank as well. People can lie to us as much as they want, but the videos are out there.
How do you blow up a church if you've got munitions, laser-guided munitions that are so sophisticated that they can take out, a guy in an SUV from 30,000 feet. How do you blow up a church with a giant cross on top of it?
It was just an accident, Tucker. It was an accident.
It's not the first church.
No, it's not. And it wasn't an
close.
accident.
What is the answer? Can anyone get an answer?
I know the answer. Israel wants a Jewish state and they want to expand. They have something known as the Greater Israel Project. They intend to annex the whole of the West Bank. In fact, Miriam Adelson legally bribed Donald Trump to ensure that that happens. And Israel announced that that's what they're going to do, and they're doing it.
In fact, Bezalel Smotrich just yesterday announced that they're going to build like thousands of new settlements in the West Bank. The West Bank is a separate territory from Gaza. It was never governed by Hamas. So why are the Palestinian people dealing with Israeli settlers, essentially running them out of their land and their homes, building more illegal settlements? By the way, Smotrich was very clear about the reason why he wants to do that, and it's to annex the West Bank and prevent the formation of a Palestinian state. This has been the plan from the very beginning. By the way, let's just go to some more about the Greater Israel Project, because it does vary a little bit.
That's what I was trying to look at, but he didn't clarify it, I guess? I'm not, and I just want to be accurate. I totally understand everything you're saying.
Why do you think,
why
do you think Israel wanted Bashar al-Assad to fall?
Mom,
Bashar al-Assad was standing in the way of Israel being able to annex land from Syria. The second Bashar al-Assad fell, Israel goes in and they start taking territory, more territory from Syria. Why do you think we're so obsessed in America with weakening Russia's military capabilities? Because if Russia's weakened, they can't come to the defense of Iran, which Israel wants to do regime.
Let me just say
all of this
one
stuff
thing.
is connected.
I totally understand, and you can read into it all that you want, but he did say, he affirmed that Israel does not intend to occupy Gaza permanently, stating, I know, but listen, our goal is not to occupy Gaza. Our goal is to free Gaza, free it from Hamas terrorists. Now, I get it. Go ahead and say he's a liar. But the way we're making it look is my concern, is that we're saying he's like, I'm for the greater vision and everybody gone. He did not actually say it. Now, whether he does it, what his actions have indicated.
He's doing it.
Wait, let me be clear. This is the same.
I just want to make sure.
I just want to say, guys, I completely understand that. But Netanyahu is the same guy who keeps telling us that Israel did not murder any kids. Okay, so I just
you don't believe him. That's okay. Totally fine to say that. But I just want to make sure we are clear about what he actually said.
And also, I don't want us to lose sight of also another personal reason why this war is still dragging on. This guy is looking out for his own ass. He was on trial before.
The lawsuits.
And I feel like it's been buried. And his plan was successful by and large.
He is a diabolical person.
Yes,
I'll give you another example, okay? So for instance, you have Hamas and then you have the PLO. The PLO tries to work with the Israeli government, play by the rules. And what Netanyahu did to undermine the PLO and their governance is he facilitated the funding of Hamas. So Hamas would become more powerful. Here's what's also really interesting. There was intelligence that the Israeli government had a year prior to October 7th, but they decided against protecting the border with Gaza. So for instance, this is the New York Times. This was published December of 2023. Israel knew Hamas's attack plan more than a year ago. A blueprint reviewed by the Times laid out the attack in detail. Israeli officials dismissed it as aspirational and ignored specific warnings. Then, about 2 weeks prior to Hamas's attack, they got additional intel indicating they're going to invade and they're going to take hostages. Why didn't the Israeli government prepare for that? Why did it take hours for the IDF to respond to those attacks? And then finally, now we have IDF soldiers who are being forced to testify because of the massive failure in responding to those attacks. And when they're testifying, they're sharing some interesting stuff. So let's go to this tweet. One of the IDF soldiers talked about how on the morning of the attack, the soldiers were told to stand down, okay? We received orders from the Golani Brigade commanders on October 7th to cancel all patrols along the Gaza border from 5:20 a.m. until 9 a.m. So what's going on here?
Well, best case scenario, gross negligence, but it looks more like the worst case scenario, which is justification for a war.
And what would that justification lead to? More land grab, everything that we're seeing play out right now.
Well, I think also he was catalyzed by self-preservation. let's look at what has happened over the course of the last year, or the course of how many years has it been right now? 2 years. He went from being booed and jeered by his own people and on the brink of like losing everything, not only him, but Sarah Netanyahu. Now he's being cheered by his whole country, his people. I think like 60% of Israelis back this guy. His plan worked.
Yeah, I mean, there was a constitutional crisis in the country because he wanted to upend the court system, the Supreme Court. And so there were mass protests. This guy, when I say diabolical, I really mean it, because all he cares about, all he's obsessed with is his own power, avoiding responsibility for crimes he has committed, not just against the Palestinian people, but against his own country in trying to do unconstitutional, disgusting things to basically solidify more power for himself. And when we talk about anti-Semitism, I think it's really important to remember when people across the globe see these images of starving children, when they see people getting shot and killed by IDF soldiers at humanitarian aid hubs, that's the kind of stuff that festers and turns into anti-Semitic sentiment. And he doesn't want to take any responsibility for what he is causing across the globe.
We do need to get, because like we're running out of time, I want to get to this Epstein Ghislaine piece too. I'm not trying to cut you off, but we have 30 minutes and a lot to cover.
I just want to say Netanyahu is responsible for, I think he's the progenitor, most prolific progenitor of anti-Semitism in recent years.
Agreed.
He just needs to go away.
He's a supervillain, literally.
Okay, hit me with what's the Epstein and Ghislaine
We're never going to get the Epstein files. There were a few leaks that came out about Trump, and I think that spooked him. There's obviously like a cover-up, and Trump is super sloppy with it as well. So for instance, okay, there was this whole thing about like, oh, we're going to have Trump's former personal lawyer, Todd Blanche, meet with Ghislaine Maxwell privately.
Right.
And oh, looky here. Ghislaine Maxwell says that Trump did nothing wrong and he's not implicated at all. And we're going to move her from a high security, terrible prison to like the Club Med of prisons.
Wait, there's something else. She gets to leave prison now.
No, that hasn't been confirmed.
But that's the proposal on the table.
That is a proposal on the table.
Gets to go
if he does that, oh my God.
Same sweetheart deal that Epstein got.
Disgusting if that happens.
That would be catastrophic.
It would be catastrophic.
Yeah, that
Hopefully
would
he's not
be,
dumb
and
enough
this
to
is,
do
by
it.
the way,
disaster.
Jillian, you were fantastic on tying this back to 2008 Alex Acosta deal. This is an identical sweetheart deal.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I mean, what did people expect? That they would subpoena her or they would speak to her and she would throw Trump under the... I mean, obviously this was positioned in a way where if the air is cleared, then you get some type of benefit.
100%.
And while we haven't confirmed the sweetheart deal aspect, even just being moved into a lower security prison. Plus, if she actually did try to say anything, she'd be dead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt it.
It'd be the same way Epstein died, right?
And so, and right now, like J.D. Vance is trying to make the Epstein files about like partisan quibbling, like, oh, it's the Democrats.
Dinner with Tim Dillon?
Yeah, and it's like, you know what, for me, this is not about Republican versus Democrat. For me, it's about a very important issue. Number one, victims never getting justice.
Right.
And number two, whether or not this was all part of a blackmail operation that has led to our Congress just being useless in their foreign policy because they're being influenced by the threat of blackmail.
Well, everyone was in Israel, like literally nearly all of Congress has been in Israel in recent times. What's with that?
By the way, this is totally bizarre, but I got an invitation to go to Israel on a junket because I'm an influencer.
Who invited
you? New York, and hi, if you guys are listening. The Israeli embassy in New York. They offered to bring me and a guest, all expenses paid.
Interesting.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a bunch of MAGA influencers who have taken...
I said no, by the way.
Who have taken those trips, and they have received a lot of backlash from their audiences. If they're part of a network, the network will drop them. Because...
So you know this is going on. Like,
yeah, I do.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of a like PR, you know.
And some of them are denying it though, and they're saying, no, I'm actually here on my own dime. I just wanted to come to learn and understand. Well, this is a topic, is very interesting to see the way it's all playing out. But that's crazy.
Thank you so much for watching Her Take. If you like the show, can you help us out by subscribing to the channel, clicking the notification button, sharing, commenting, joining the conversation? It helps us out a ton with the algorithm. We appreciate you.